Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Ashabi, and today I'll be teaching you how to cut a basic skirt block. Basically, all you'll be needing in this video is a ruler, a pencil, set square and hip curve. That's all you're going to need in this video, and then a supply of paper. I don't know why I keep forgetting that. A supply of paper. Now the key measurement you'll be needing to draft this pattern is just the waist measurement, the hip measurement and the skirt length. That's all you're going to need. Now basically all I'm just going to do is to measure about 4 centimeters or 5 centimeters basically away from the paper, both horizontally and vertically. I just like to do that when I'm drafting basic patterns because I really do not know the dimensions that I might actually go like when I'm playing around with paper. So giving myself the excess space is like giving me room to explore. So now I'm just going to measure the skirt length, and then I'm just going to square the measurement out vertically, and the hip measurement divided by 2, and I'm just going to square it down as like the horizontal measurement. Now where you put the skirt measurement is going to be 0.1, and where you put the hip measurement is going to be 0.2. Now where the 2 points meet, like from 0.1 to 0.2, where 0.1 and 0.2 measurements meet is actually going to be 0.3. So that's just what you can see. I just wrote 0.3 around there. So now I'm just going to measure the midway of 0 to 2 and 1 to 3, and I'm just going to split it, so just for me to get the middle of the measurement. So now I'm just going to number that 0.4 and 0.5, and then I'm just going to label my pattern from the beginning. So the one on the right side is going to be our center front, and the one on the left side is going to be the center back. Now the one in the middle is going to remain the straight green. It's going to remain the straight green, even though later in the video I didn't use that part as a straight green. So that's just what it's going to be. So from that part, we're just going to measure the hip measurement divided by 4 minus 2 centimeters. That's how we're going to get our hip level. So we're just going to use hip measurement divided by 4 centimeters by minus 2 centimeters. So after we're going to mark that part, we're just going to rule it out and call it 0.6 and 0.7. Using numbers just makes it easy for you to get the points where you're actually doing your markings, and it's going to make it easy for you to really remember. So that's just what we're going to do now. So I'm going to just rule that point out. You can see I'm just doing that, and then that's going to be our hip level. So now the midway of 0.0 to 0.6 and 0.2 to 0.7, on the center back is going to be 0.6, that will be right under 0, and 0.7 will be right under 2. You can see that now. I just wrote 7 there and then there's 6 there. So the midway of that part is actually going to be our above hip level. So you can see I'm actually just going to measure that part out, and then I'm going to divide it in 2. So I'm just going to measure that part out, you see, and I'll divide it into 2, and that's how we're going to get the hip, the above hip level. After we're going to roll that part out, we're just going to call that number 0.8 and 0.9, just following the same method. So we're just going to call the one under 0 now, it's going to be 0.8, and the one under 2 is going to be 0.9. So we're just going to, you're going to see me mark it out, and then you'll see the points right now. Now guys, right under point 4, we're going to number it point 10 and point 11. So meaning that the one at the middle of 8 and 9 is going to be point 10, and the one at the middle of 6 and 7 is going to be point 11. Point 10 is going to be on the upper hip line, and point 11 is going to be on the hip line. Now I'm just going to calculate the waist suppression. Suppression is basically just the difference between two measurements. So I'm just going to get the difference between the hip measurement divided by 2 and waist measurement divided by 2. We're just going to subtract that measurement from each other, and then I got 13.5 centimeter. I used 44.5 centimeter and 31 centimeter, so I'm actually going to get 30.5 centimeters. Now the total suppression is going to be shared for the side seam and for the dart. So meaning in this pattern, I'm going to use for the side seam suppression, I'm going to use 6.5 centimeters. I'll split it in 2, and for the dart suppression, I'll be using 7 centimeters. That's how I'm just going to divide it. So the dart suppression will be shared in 2 for the front dart and for the back dart, and say the side suppression is just going to be shared on both sides of the pattern. You can see it there. Now guys, take note that sometimes the back dart suppression is 1 centimeter more than the front dart suppression. So for the front dart, I'll be using 3 centimeters, and for the back dart, I'll be using 4 centimeters. Now we're just going to measure half of the side seam suppression on both sides. From that, I'm just going to extend the measurement on point 12 and point 13 by 1.5 centimeters. So I'm just going to extend it by that, and then I'm just going to locate the new point as point 14 and point 15. And I'm going to use my hip curve to blend that part out from that point, that new point, and I'm just going to blend it down to point 11. You can see that I'm trying to blend it down. So I'm just going to blend it down from that part that I raised up on both sides. So I'm just going to blend that one out. Now I'm actually going to go back to point 0, and then I'm going to raise it up by 1 centimeter. I'm going to raise it up by 1 centimeter, and we're going to call that new point point 16. So we're going to connect point 13 back to point 2, and we're going to connect that point 16 back to point 12. So you can see that the one on the right side is actually going to be higher than the one on the left side. So I mean the one on the left side is going to be higher than the right side, sorry. So we're going to measure midway of point 16 to point 17. To get point 17, it's going to be midway of point 16 to point 12. We're going to measure from point 16 to point 12 and then divide it by 2, and that's how we're going to get the midway. And then we'll do the same for the other side too. From point 2 to point 13, we divide it by 2, and then we're going to get point 18. Now that point 17 and point 18 is going to be used for our dart. It's going to be the midpoint of our dart. So it's really important that you get that part out. Now from that point that we just got, we're just going to, from point 17, we're just going to measure the half measurement of the back dart suppression on both sides. Now like I said, I was going to use 4 centimeters for my back dart, so we're just going to divide 4 centimeters in 2, and there is going to be 2 centimeters on both sides. Now those new points, I'm going to call them point 19 and 20. Now we're going to go to the right side and do the same thing there. We'll divide the front dart suppression in 2. That would be 1.5 centimeters on both sides, because it's actually 3 centimeters. So that's how we're going to get the waist suppression. Now we're going to call that one 21 and 22. Now from point 17, we're going to square it down with 3 centimeters below the upper hip line, meaning that you're just going to extend that upper hip line down a little and then measure 3 centimeters and then connect it from that point to point. You can say I'm measuring the 3 centimeters first, and then I'm just going to connect it from that point to point 19 and point 20. So that's going to be our dart leg from that point. So we are going to do the same on the other side. It's just that it's going to be, we're going to square it down from point 18 with 2 centimeters above the upper hip line. You know, the one on the left side is actually going to be below the upper hip line, so this one is going to be above the upper hip line with 2 centimeters, not 3 centimeters, just 2 centimeters. And then you're just going to connect it, because you know that naturally the back dart is going to be higher than the front dart. So I'm just going to connect it to point 21 and 22. Now this is basically all about drafting a basic skirt pattern. We have everything, all our numbers, all our curves and everything. Now I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to drop a comment on the difficulties you encountered while trying to draft this pattern. Don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to share this video with your friends. It's going to be really helpful for others around you that are actually trying to learn how to sew. I love you.